President Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, right now. Dr. Fauci, thanks for coming back this morning. And just let's start out with the situation we're facing right now. We're seeing some cases coming down across the country. We're seeing hospitalizations come down across the country. Yet, we also had that prediction from the task force yesterday, 90,000 deaths in the next month. How would you describe what we're facing right now?
Well, it's still a very serious situation, George, as the president had said, and as we have said in the coronavirus medical team, that if you look throughout the country, the dynamics of the outbreak are a little bit unstable, even though for the most part, we're seeing general trends, 7-day trends of cases going down and ultimately, hopefully, hospitalizations and deaths. You have situations like the outbreak in California with a new variant there that's causing a lot of trouble. The threat of seeing now other variants that are, at least from what we're hearing from our UK colleagues, that increases the degree of transmissibility significantly, maybe a little bit increase in lethality, but that variant, the UK variant, it's called 117, it's a lineage, a different type of mutant. It's here in the United States and it spreads more. The vaccine that we have looks like it would be able to cover that, which is another reason why, even though the message is sober about the fact that we're going to be seeing more cases and deaths in the future, the other message is now's the time to double down. And when vaccine becomes available, go get your vaccine, because that's going to be very important.
The problem is it's not available everywhere right now. We saw President Biden the other day say he was having a goal of 1.5 million a day. It appeared that members of the task force were backtracking from that yesterday. What can we expect in the coming weeks and beyond?
What you can expect, if things go well, and I think they will, an escalation of the number of doses that will be available throughout various regions of the country. We now have contractual arrangements with Moderna and Pfizer already to get 200 million doses each from each of those companies. And most recently, we signed another contractual arrangement to get an additional 100 million doses in addition to the original 200 from each of these. So as the months go by, George, as we get into February, March, and April, we're going to see an escalation of availability of doses that we may not have had a week or 2 or 3 ago.
But are we moving fast enough to outrace the variants? You mentioned the UK variant. You also have this one from South Africa.
Well, the one in South Africa, George, troubles me. And the reason it troubles me is that even though this is something that is now really dominating the South Africa scene, when you look at the vaccines that we have available now, the neutralizing antibodies that they induce, so we're talking about things just in a test tube, when you measure that against the South African isolate, it is diminished by multifold in its ability to cover it. It's still within the range of what you would predict to be protective. But I take no great comfort in that. I think, and we're doing it, and that's one of the things I wanted to mention this morning, George. We're going ahead already now and trying to stay a step or two ahead of things by making vaccines along the same type that we made for the ones we're giving now, but having it be directed specifically against the isolate that's in South Africa, so that if it's necessary, may not be necessary, but if it is, we'll already be on the road to being able to give people a boost that directs against the South African isolate. That's what we're doing right now. So we're just, we're not taking any chances.
Well, good on that. We're seeing this real controversy now about schools, opening up the schools. We know President Biden's goal to have all elementary schools open in the first 100 days, but you're seeing some strong feelings across the country. Teachers in Chicago didn't want to go back to work this week until they were vaccinated. The union is threatening to strike. What does the science say about where things stand right now?
Well, it's very clear that right now, in a situation when you look at the community penetrance of a virus and how it's spreading, when into schools, interestingly, when you give the schools the protection and the resources they need to be able to have masking, to get the teachers to be able to have the resources they need to do some physical separation, the infection transmission in school appears to be less than that of the community. So if you have a situation where you have a dynamics of a viral spread in a community, it's less likely that the children who are in the school if we do things right, it's less likely that they're going to get infected. So the science tells us that there's something leaning towards all the things that we need to do. Obviously, we want to get the teachers vaccinated. We want to make sure they have the resources to do it correctly. But when you look at the history of how this virus is moving in schools, it seems to be less spreading there than it is in the community.
Dr. Fauci, thanks again for your time and information this morning. Robin?
Yeah.